What actually separates a good mechanic from a dangerous one? It's not tools, it's not experience, it's not even how many planes he's worked on. It's about one habit. And I want to show you what that habit is because I've seen what happens when it's missing. I'm Nathan. I work in the accessory shop at a regional airline. And today I want to talk about the thing that actually keeps people safe in this industry. It's not memory, it's the manual. Right now, all I build is airplane wheels. And it kind of sounds pretty simple, but as you build anything in aviation, you're not supposed to build for memory. So every time before I start building, I'll open up the manual and make sure I have the right tools and the right part numbers. Even though I've built these wheels thousands of times, because aircraft parts that look identical can sometimes not be. It could be the same wheel, different revision, different torque values, same bolt pattern, but different safety wire routing. If you're going off of memory instead of a manual, you're not really fixing an airplane, you're guessing on it. And in my short career, I've actually seen what happens when guessing goes wrong. At my first job in aviation, I watched somebody hook up to an airplane, start towing it, and break a nose gear because they skipped a few steps. Towing sounds like the least technical job in aviation, right? You're literally just putting an airplane on a tug. But every single different airplane has different tow limits, has a different way of hooking up, has different checks that you need to check for it. Skip the manual, trust your memory instead, and you'll break a nose gear in 3 seconds. And here's the part that I think should stick with you. That aircraft wasn't careless. He had just towed enough airplanes to think he knew what he was doing. So at what point does experience make you not safer and start skipping the manual? A couple weeks ago, I got the smaller version of that lesson. During my dye penetrant class, where you dunk wheels in dye and you can find cracks that are invisible to the human eye, I learned that the process of building a wheel is just as important as signing it off correctly. And I know it kind of doesn't make sense to connect that, but what I was thinking is, if I don't know the manual, I can't properly sign off. And if I can't properly sign off, I can't properly do dye penetrant inspection on wheels. And the manual doesn't care how many wheels you've inspected, how many cracks you think you know you can find. It gives you exact developer time, exact dwell times, everything. Because the one time that you skip a step out of confidence is the one time that you miss something. And that's the whole reason why that certification even became a thing. Back in 1989, a United Airlines flight crashed because a dye penetrant was not being done correctly. It was being done by how they were told to do it, not by the manual. So when the FAA did investigating, they found out that it wasn't properly done. So they had to create something so it wouldn't happen again. They made everyone in NDT testing need to get certified before they can go on and test anything on an airplane. Because the manual that only lives in somebody's mind will not survive when that mind has an off day. And everybody has an off day eventually. And like I was talking about, the manual doesn't stop mattering once the job is done. That's one part that I think a lot of people can kind of glance over. The manual is also how you log repairs and log rebuilds. Every time I finish a job, I have to write down exactly where I referenced it in the manual and exactly how I used the manual to do what I did. I don't write down just torqued a bolt. I write down the specific manual, the torque value, the section, and even the page. Because 5 years from now, when another mechanic comes along and expects that same exact repair that I made, he is able to see exactly how I did it. And my signature is on that logbook entry. If I can't point to exactly where I found that procedure, my signature means nothing. The manual isn't just how to do the work right, it's to prove to someone else who wasn't in the room that you've done it correctly. I actually started learning this when I was working at an FBO, before I was even fixing and repairing aircraft parts. Before this job, I was at an FBO for 3 years, and I was only towing and fueling and marshalling and doing all those services. And even there, I realized how much of the job is reading and not just wrenching. When you tow an airplane, like I said, you have to know exactly how to detach the steering, if it needs steering detached, what to look for, what's locked, what's unlocked, how to find out if the tow safety pins are in, and it's different for every single airplane. And I never got hurt or broke any airplane because I trusted the process and not my own instincts. Towing an airplane can be a little frightening, but knowing the steps makes the fear go away. not having experience, but knowing the steps. And that, I think, is the biggest thing to understand about this field before you even start school. You're not going to memorize aviation. The only thing you'll memorize are your orals and practicals and your tests that you take. But nobody memorizes any manuals in aviation because they're always updated. Not even your instructor does. Because what you're being trained to do is learning how to find the right information fast, apply it, and then put your own signature on that. And that's basically the whole job. You're reading comprehension, fixing the aircraft, and then putting your signature on it. And that's what I've been looking forward to when I start my AMTT program in a couple weeks. I know I'm not going to memorize torque values, but I'm going to learn how manuals are structured and how to look through them. Learning how to move through a manual well enough that when I'm standing in front of an aircraft part that I have no clue what it is, I'm not frightened. I just need to know where to look. Because here's the truth. The FAA can and will show up to every repair shop, including mine, and they will ask you, how do you know how to work on what you're working on? And the only acceptable answer, the answer that they are looking for, is that you're reading the manual. Not somebody told me to do it this way, or it's just always been done like this. Because if you answer like that, they're going to ask you a whole bunch of more questions and you're not going to know anything about aviation. So the answer is the manual and the specific section you're in every single time. So if you're just getting into this industry and you're really excited about the wrenches and the fixing the hands-on, that's great. That's why I'm here too. But I really think it's important to fall in love with the manual because that's how you do all the hands-on correctly. You have to be able to fix an airplane on your own because that's your signature. No one else is going to back that. And it's important because the mechanics that make it far in this career are the ones that are trusted with more responsibility, not the ones with the best memory, the ones who never stopped opening their manuals. Thanks for watching. On August 25th, I'll officially start my AMTT program, where I'll walk through my entire course and what I'm learning, so that people like you can understand what it's like to go through this whole process. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and join the journey.